Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is the latest in my Pride Month celebration series of review. A month full of reviews revolving around queer and LGBTQIA cinema, including reviews for important and impactful films within the community that I have not previously reviewed here on my channel. And today, I'm reviewing Brokeback Mountain. This Pride Month celebration series of movie reviews is a collaborative effort in which I bring in fellow YouTubers, film reviewers, and friends to help me review these classic films. And today I have Justin from JustinWatchesMovies to help me review one of the most famous LGBT films in history. So, without further ado, I'm going to let Justin share his thoughts on the film first. So, take it away, Justin.
Thank you, LC Screen Talk, for allowing me to be on your channel to talk about Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain came out in 2006, a time where I was in middle school, and it was a time where I used to watch like 4 or 5 movies within a day after school and during the weekends, and I stumbled upon Brokeback Mountain. Not knowing much about the movie, I really didn't know what to think about this movie. And after that viewing, I found a love for this movie. I found an understanding. I found an acceptance. I found a love for what the story was going for and its subject matter. And it's a perfect time to talk about Brokeback Mountain with it being Pride Month, and you have this on your channel, a little segment about Pride Month, and I think it's a great movie to talk about with some really heart-wrenching performances by Jake Gyllenhaal, Heath Ledger, Michelle Williams, Anne Hathaway. This movie is filled with some of the best performances of the mid-2000s. Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger are living a secret life. They are in love with each other and they are married in their normal lives. Yet they escape to Brokeback Mountain to be with each other. And it saddens me to think that they have to go to just a separate place to, finally be themselves. And they felt like they weren't going to be accepted. And that's why I think this movie is also very realistic, because they were hiding who they truly are. And if anybody's in their situation, they felt like they've had to hide things before as well. So I think that this movie is very relatable. I think that it's very realistic. This movie is it's emotional and it's happy at times, but it's also very sad. It's very happy and warming when Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal are together and they are happy and they are who they want to be. And it's also depressing and sad when they are at home and the thoughts of that other person linger in the back of their head. You can tell by the filmmaking and the acting that something is just not sitting right with their normal lives and they want something different and they're struggling to deal with that. And the director captures that so well, that feeling that something is off for them, something is not just right. As the movie is going on, you have those moments of something is just not right for them, something is not what they want it to be. And the moments of them together on Brokeback Mountain, it's something that's completely different and very happy and very loving and very emotional because it's what they want it to be. So the director was able to balance both of those moments of love and heartwarming moments with also some heartbreaking moments and truly sad moments as well. Brokeback Mountain is a film that I think a lot of people need to see. It's a film that, some people hate without even seeing it. But open up your heart and watch Brokeback Mountain because it is truly a great film about love. And if you are into love stories, then Brokeback Mountain is the one for you. Thank you, LC Screen Talk, for allowing me to be on your channel once again and talk about Brokeback Mountain. I will always cherish this movie. It is a great movie to watch. It is a very loving movie, and it's one that opened my mind up about a lot of things, and I accepted a lot of people in my lives from after watching this movie. I'm going to go ahead and give Brokeback Mountain an A. If you guys would like to head over to my channel, my name is JustinWatchesMovies. I do trailer reactions, movie reviews, ranking videos, similar to what LC Screen Talks does as well. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for participating in this series. I really appreciate you taking the time to film your segment and send it on over. And I also really appreciate your allyship and support of the LGBTQ community and obviously a long-standing internet friendship. So if you're not already, make sure that you head over and subscribe to Justin Watches Movies. He delivers great content between movie reviews, great giveaways for Funko Pops, lists, the whole deal. You won't regret being subscribed. Also, make sure you follow him across social media. He posts great stuff across the web. All of those links are going to be in that description below. So now, for Brokeback Mountain, aka the real Best Picture winner for 2006. As I said in the opening, this is still one of the most famous films within the LGBTQ spectrum. And in many ways, it's a big shame that this has kind of just been relegated as that gay cowboy movie, because I feel like it is so much more, and certainly has so much more substance than that moniker would suggest. And I think that this is definitely one of the most important films with the community, but also just a really amazing movie across the board in every single sense of the filmmaking word. So first of all, Ang Lee, he actually did win the award he deserved for Best Director on this film, although it ended up losing Best Picture at the Oscars. But wow, what a masterclass in directing from Ang Lee. This film is pretty much perfectly pieced together, I think, from a directing standpoint. First of all, it's gorgeous. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely stunning. It looks so amazing, but also the shot compositions within this film are amazing. And I think the editing in and of itself is also amazing. But what I love is that Ang Lee lets his film breathe and lets it take its time as we move through the story. I'm going to circle back around to time because that is part of my negatives overall, but it's just a beautifully directed movie. And it's a beautifully acted film. Oh, these performances are absolutely stunning, and I don't think the film works nearly as well without these amazing performances. Heath Ledger, this may be my favorite performance he gave in his entire career. It's this and the Joker, certainly, but he's so good in this movie. There's so much depth. He has this harder exterior, but there is so much to his character, and he brings it to life beautifully. And then Jake Gyllenhaal, he's given so many amazing performances at this point in his career. But this one still is one that actually got him nominated, shocker. But it's still one of the defining roles of his career. I think he is fantastic. Michelle Williams is absolutely stunning in this film. Anne Hathaway is wonderful. Literally every single acting performance of this movie is great. There is not a bad actor amongst the bunch. Whether it's background actors, none of them. They're all fantastic. And that score, oh, the score is amazing. I mean, I think it really is captivating and adds an entirely new dimension to an already great film. But this movie really stands out for how complex of a film it is. As I said, it has been relegated to that one gay cowboy movie, and it's a real shame that that was kind of the takeaway upon its initial release. I think, in retrospect, maybe we've grown past that a little bit, but it's kind of always going to be marked that, unfortunately. And the reason that's such a shame is because it's so much more than two cowboys in this same-sex relationship. And even when you look at the relationship, it is so complex and so deep and so layered and says so much that you can't sum it up in just this one sentence viewpoint. This film starts as a summer fling and then really evolves itself into a lifelong love that is filled with regret, that is filled with sadness, that is filled with a certain level of resentment from our couple, but also the people around them, the people that are unfortunately having to also suffer the consequences of an unaccepting and unwavering society. And I think that is what this film really just shows so well. We don't get a lot. We see it with Jake Gyllenhaal's character near the end, clearly. But we don't get a lot of outright hatred toward the men. There are a few speeches or a few moments of that homophobia that come through. But this is Wyoming and Texas in the 1960s. I mean, come on. But the film does such a good job of showing how impossible it is for this to ever take place. And Jake Gyllenhaal's character is like the romantic in the story, and you want to go with him. You want his dreams to become the reality. And this movie keeps it real. No matter how hard that is to accept and how hard that is to be a part of, it keeps it real. But also the women around these men, these wives, knowing and having to kind of figure out how they're going to deal with it and what they're going to do. And we see two women pretty much take very different routes. Of course, it delivered that iconic line of, "I wish I could quit you." But again, it's like this memeable line to people. Wow. It's like one of the defining moments of the film, if you ask me, because it just shows the regret and the sadness, and it really kind of hits home the emotion of this entire story of these two people who love each other and can't. They just can't. But I also applaud this film for breaking barriers with the demographic that it is depicting. We have two, like, rugged, manly cowboys in Wyoming. And that's where we decide to take this same-sex relationship. That's an underserved, undershown group in general, but especially when you bring in gay characters of that sort, it's really an underseen group. And I think that took it that extra mile to show the hard nature of trying to make this relationship work. It just added another layer to an already layered story, which comes down to a fantastic script derived from a really nice short story. So for negatives, I do have a couple of negatives when it comes to the film. One of which is the passing of time in this movie. I mentioned the editing and, pacing. I think it slows a lot in the middle of the film because we just move over so much time. And we're dealing with characters who don't actually see each other all that often, but we're skipping. These kids are like growing exponentially, and it's like, oh, wow. So the story isn't progressing anywhere fast, but the time of the story is. We're jumping over years and years without a whole lot of story progression in and of itself over that same time frame. So I think that's the biggest pacing issue, and it kind of leaves that middle part to drag. I also do wish we had gotten more time with the guys. I understand that to this point this was one of the most mainstream gay-themed films to come out, but I do think it's fleeting. We get kind of the developmental phase at the beginning, and then we don't get much time with them actually seeming like some sort of couple, seeming like people who love each other. We get just moments of them being together, I guess, but we don't really get to feel that connection after that initial rendezvous over the summer that they first meet. So I would have liked more of that, and maybe even I would have liked more of the beginning of the film in general, where we do just get to stay on Brokeback with them a lot more. And then finally, my last complaint is about the animals in the film. I don't know if it was ever resolved, but I forgot about it until I rewatched this film for the sake of this review. But the handling of those sheep at the beginning of the movie was very rough, to the point where I was like, oh my, is this a time when we have the Humane Society on set to be like, hey, stop that? Also, there was controversy, I remember, with that deer, the elk that gets shot in the film, if it really got shot. So if all that happened, I mean, that's atrocious, and Ang Lee should be ashamed of himself. But even just watching the film, you clearly see the sheep being handled kind of rough, and I was like, oh, Well, this isn't a good look. This feels way more dated than a mid-2000s film. Ugh. But really, I think Brokeback Mountain is an absolutely stunning piece of art. It really approaches sexuality in general in a very sophisticated and open manner. Saying this is the gay cowboy movie doesn't even really represent the sexuality of the characters and what it is they're experiencing. Whether that just be repressed gayness or bisexuality or just I need to get my kicks off right now and my name is Jake Gyllenhaal, so I'm gonna grab Anne Hathaway or whoever is closest. But it handles it in such a beautiful grown-up fashion, an evolved fashion, and I think that's what this film really represents, is an evolved mindset in a homophobic, closed-off, closed-minded 1960s small-town cowboy setting. But it's beautiful, top to bottom. So if you have not seen Brokeback Mountain, definitely make sure you check it out. It is one of the best made films under the LGBTQ cinema umbrella, and in my estimation, one of the best films to come out of the 2000s. So once again, thank you, Justin, for reviewing Brokeback Mountain with me. I do really appreciate you taking the time to be a part of my Pride Month celebration. And everybody, make sure you head over to his channel and subscribe. And, since you're already here, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to my channel. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!